Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I know you could talk about that all day, but I'm going to try and shift your mind slightly now. I do think it ties in actually with what Pete's been talking about, so hopefully it flows on. The first thing that I think, I'm just going to go straight in, is culture shift. Culture shift. I believe that we need a radical culture shift in the church. And actually what we're living in now cannot contain what's coming. So it's really helpful to talk about young people because obviously that's what's coming even more. It's coming at us all the time. And I think, what I see, I suppose, what I'm sensing God saying is that there's a shaking going on and an increased shaking going on, not just nationally, but globally. I was just hearing someone say yesterday, they'd sensed the Lord say, I will shake everything that can be shaken so that everything that cannot be shaken will remain. And I thought, wow, shake everything that can be shaken so that everything that cannot be shaken will remain. And I think that I personally feel like I'm in a time as a church leader of looking back a little bit into the past and going, what were the things that were really important and significant to keep in place and not be shaken? And what's the stuff that we need to go, okay, that's okay, because it needs to die. And we need to push that back to allow the new to come. John Wesley, he wanted to stay part of the Church of England, part of the institution, but at that time, he felt that the old wineskins of the Church of England could not contain the new wine of the Wesleyan revival. And I think all the time I'm asking, Lord, please can we still work with the institution? I'm a Baptist minister, but see the life and the shift come within what we're doing. And that's my longing, really, is that we can see it happen within the structures that we have. I believe that it's going to be a really messy time of transition as we try and shift into the newness of what the Holy Spirit is doing through the church. And I sensed personally the Lord say just a week ago, and the church needs a change of diet. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, what? And some of the stuff that we've been feasting on, we need to just snack on. And some of the stuff that we're snacking on, we need to start feasting on. And there just needs to be a shift of our priorities. Because I think there's two things that are happening. It's like a two-pronged Jesus attack. And one is that I believe he's waking up the church. And I know a lot of us have heard that spoken over the last couple of years. The second thing is that he is drawing the lost. And I believe that he's going to keep doing the second, even if the church isn't ready for the lost to come in. The next slide. Is the slides working? Oh, perfect. Thank you, my friends. It starts with us. I believe that it starts with us. Everything that I'm sensing, I'm feeling the Lord go, and what about you? Where are you as a leader? What are you going to do in your own life to get ready for what I'm doing? And this is an outward thing, but also an inward thing as well. Because I'm asking God to send the fire. I'm asking God to move in power in the nation. I'm asking him to do it in my church. But you know what I'm discovering is there's a refining fire that's most burning at the moment. It's a refining fire that's happening in my own life and in our team. And actually it's really uncomfortable and we're all finding it really difficult as stuff just keeps coming up to the surface and we have to keep asking the Lord to scrape it off in our own lives so that we can look more like one together, so that we can be more effective. There's something about going, God, I want to remain open to whatever you want to do in me. I want to stay teachable to whatever you're wanting to do in my life. And I think this is how, as a church, we move towards God's mission. Because if we're open about what he's doing in us, then we can hear what he's saying for everyone else. I feel challenged over my order of priorities at the moment. I keep looking at my diary with my church to-do list, and I keep thinking, Lord, is this what you would want me to be doing? Is this actually what my week should look like? What are your priorities right now for us as a church? I think my day-to-day needs a radical overhaul, if I'm honest. And what he's been drawing me into more is like relationship, radical loving in the power of the Spirit, more than any maintenance that I end up getting drawn into. He's saying, make it about relationships. And I think that the stuff that I most want to see, people encounter Christ, people come to Jesus. Often the ways that I'm doing that are at the bottom of my list. The things that I need to do to see that are at the bottom of my church to-do list. And so I'm going, God, please, can you move my to-do list? Please, can you move out of the way the stuff that I need moving out of the way so I can make the main thing the main thing? And I'm conscious of the enemy at work in that all the time. I don't know whether you find this, but in the West, this sense of the enemy trying to make us as busy as he possibly can and fill our diaries as much as he possibly can with stuff to take our eyes off what's really important. And I find, this, obviously my family is a priority. I think the maintenance of the church is a priority. We've got all the administration that's going on all the time. My devices are constantly distracting me. Financial issues, home pressures. I mean, the list is endless, isn't it, of the challenges that we have. But what I find is I can be drawn into a whirlwind of that stuff and miss the stuff that the Holy Spirit is saying and miss the key stuff for the church. And my day-to-day needs a radical overhaul. Last week, we went out onto the streets as a team. And you know what? This is the first time we've done it in a couple of years. We run healing on the streets. We've got a mobile coffee van. We do stuff in the community. But this is the first time as a whole team that we said, right, we're going to go on the streets and we're going to do evangelism. And it was the most incredible day. And we'd organized a friend of mine to come down and help us in that. And it was honestly amazing. The encounters that we had on the street with the amount of tears that we saw, the way God was moving. And I just thought, how have we not done this sooner? How have I been so busy that I haven't been doing this? This is where it's at. This is the important thing. And I'm constantly reminding, if Jesus was coming back tomorrow, people say this to you all the time, if Jesus was coming back tomorrow, what would you do today? And I think I'd go and tell someone about Jesus. I'd go and share the gospel that I carry. Why am I not doing that more? And just this call out of the building is so strong right now. And I cannot believe the people that we encountered, how far they are from Jesus Christ. And how just telling them that they were loved and that Jesus loved them just made them weep. I just think it's only my busyness and my insecurity that stops more of that from happening. If Jesus was coming back tomorrow, what would you do? What would you do? And I think I'm trying to sort of ask the Lord, how do we sow an urgency in our people? Lord, how do we see them get urgent about the fact that you are moving in power in the nation? What do we do to increase their boldness, to increase all of our boldness? And the biggest thing, I think, is him going, it starts with you, Anne. It starts with you. And if you start to model something and you start to lead people into that, other people will follow you. Call to unity. I think there's a call to unity. Someone gave me a picture recently of Tetris blocks. Who remembers the old Tetris game? Please tell me someone does. And they used to play it on the Game Boy. I mean, I'm old. But the pieces would come down and then they fit together. And I think we've been in a time as a team of going, how do these pieces fit together? And we're just beginning to find that we're starting to slot together. And in that place of togetherness, we're starting to see fruitfulness come. And so we're fighting hard for togetherness. In the refining, we're fighting hard for togetherness. We are trying really hard to be for each other no matter what, to speak well of each other no matter what, to love one another no matter what. It's that John 17 prayer, isn't it, of Jesus? Then you will see my glory. When you're one, then people will be drawn to Jesus. Are we one? Are we one as a team? We see it in the early church. When they're together, the number of believers increases. It's like, what is going on there? How come they're so united? What's going on? Why are they so loving one another? I want in with that community where there's love, where there's togetherness, where there's oneness. I'd seen a picture of an old man in a prayer meeting with a grey beard, and we were stood there and we were praying, and I just could visually see this guy, and it was like a long beard, and then I just began to see oil just dripping down through this beard, and I was thinking, whoa, what is that? And I could visually see the guy's face, and the oil began to drip into a pool in the middle of our prayer meeting, and I was thinking, whoa, I can just see. So I shared it with the team. I was like, guys, I can see this. And someone quickly grabbed their Bible, and they found Psalm 133, verses 1-2. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. It's like the precious oil upon the head, running down the beard of Aaron, running down on the edge of his garments. The anointing oil in the presence of unity. That's what I want to see for our team. That's what we're longing for our church. And just again and again, the Lord's saying, value every part of the body, Anne. Value every part. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. It cannot. He's arranged every single part of the body according to what he wants it to look like. And believe that he has placed them all there. Make sure you include everyone. And again, it ripples out, doesn't it? If that's happening in our team, I pray it ripples out more and more into the wider church. The next thing, get ready. Get ready. I think we've been sensing we need to get God's house ready for what's about to come. You know, I am not big into interiors. I am not big into making good the space that we have. We have people that are, thank the Lord. But I don't make that a priority. But I'm seeing more and more that God gave us the building that we're in, and we need to use it the way he's calling us to use it. And so we are actually in the process of looking to sell a property that we own as a church and invest the money, firstly in the church, and secondly in employing young people who are inspired and passionate over the mission of God. So we've got 2 young people, just 21 years old, who we're going to take on board from September in order to push in further with what they're seeing God's doing in the nation. So evangelistically on the streets with our discipleship, but also investing in the building. Are we ready for what's coming? What do we need to do in light of what we're sensing God saying? You know, suddenly we see many people coming to faith. Are we ready for that? Are we ready for what is about to come? Unity, togetherness, loving one another, getting the building ready and empowering young people. They do it, don't they, in Acts chapter 4. They sell property and they lay the money at the apostles' feet. Go and use it for your mission. What do we need to sell? What do we need to lay down? What do we need to give up in order for an increase in the mission that God is calling us to step into? I've been looking for the early adopters. I love that line, the early adopters, the people who are going, I want that too. I see what you're burning with, and I want that too. Who are the people that are hungry for what you're hungry for? Are they around you? Because that's where we're going to see some of the unity come as well. And just briefly before I finish, I just wanted to give you a quick framework. And I was just thinking, Lord, what does it look like? What does it look like to be a church that releases people into God's mission? And I'm clearly on a journey, as you've picked up with this myself. So I found Acts really helpful. Gavin and I have got a book coming out called Unleashed. It might help you with some of what I'm talking about if you want to make sense of more of this. But just 6 quick things. The first thing is this: prayer. Prayer at the heart of everything that we're doing. And we're praying specific big prayers. We're praying that every single person in the church would be hungry for God. Every single person in the church would feel a passion to serve Jesus, would feel the Holy Spirit just stirring them up and wanting them to just be awake. We're just longing for everyone to be awake for what God is calling us into. We don't want to leave anyone behind. And we're praying, God, let the fire come in me and let the fire come in them. The second thing is power. Power. I think that we need spaces of encounter. One of the things that's happening with the busyness that we're being drawn into is that we're losing space for encounter. And encounter is really, really key. You know, when they've gathered together at the beginning of Acts, they're in prayer. They wait for the Spirit to come. They wait. They don't rush in. And I think it's going, Lord, where are you? Are you here? Are you in this moment? Are you in what we're doing? Reveal yourself in this. Speak to us. And only then stepping according to the agenda of God. Encounter. The third thing is togetherness culture. I've been realizing, you know, I think we put a lot of value on the pastor. We put a lot of value on the teacher. But actually, who are your apostles? Who are your evangelists? And who are your prophets? And do they know who they are? Do they know they are? Like, because if it's not modeled in the leadership, then we don't see it in the people either. And actually, we're starting to recognize who we've got in the team, name what we've got around the table, and begin to say, okay, now let's raise up the people in those spheres amongst the people. Like, we need to value every single part, every single one of those gifts. Who are they? And are they all able to play their part? The words, works, and wonders working together. You know, a word and works are great, but if we're not seeing wonders, what's happening? We need the power of God, don't we? And equally, we mustn't do the opposite. We don't just push in to see the wonders and neglect the word and the incredible works that some people are doing through street pastors and through so many initiatives. There are some incredible things going on with food banks, and we need that stuff, but we need the wonders too. And I think encouraging people to step out and get uncomfortable. When we went onto the street, you know, there was this moment, and we were doing a bit of treasure hunting, and I'd written down Stanmore College and woman with a purple headscarf. And I was with a couple of our young people who are really brave. And we went out, and there's this woman stood under the Stanmore College sign with a purple headscarf. And they were like, go on then, Anne. And I'm like, oh. Because there's a moment of leaping, isn't there? There's a moment of just, okay, I'm going onto the water now, and Lord, you need to be God in this, because I can't do this on my own. I can't create something. I can't make something happen. It has to be you. Where are we stepping and having to trust God? Are we? Because I think that's where we're going to start to see the kingdom break in ways we haven't seen before. The fifth thing is identifying and releasing callings. I've kind of touched on some of that before, but just making sure that every part of the body is valued. And the sixth thing is participants, not passengers. Participants, not passengers. I've got more and more and more uncomfortable with the Sunday service. Not that I don't think we should be gathering, because we have to gather. But I'm just sat there going, how many people are participating? How many people are just sat there for the hour and a half on a Sunday morning to receive? And if a major move of the Almighty God comes in the nation, would they just scatter from the church? How many of them are just converts and not disciples? Because we need to be in the business of making disciples, of raising disciples who raise disciples. And those people are not people who just sit in a pew for an hour and a half on a Sunday and enjoy a nice lukewarm cup of coffee out of their polystyrene cup and then depart. How do we change that? Lord, show us, we pray. So I don't know whether this resonates with you. I can see some people nodding, but I think what we'll do is just move into a short time of conversation and just talk about that. Does any of this resonate? What are the challenges that you're facing in trying to release your church into the mission of God? Is that good? Bless you all.